All right, all right, all right. And we are live. Yo, yo, yo. Tell me what you know. Welcome to the Sunshine Show. Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, I have the most special treat for you tonight, this afternoon, this morning, wherever in the world you may roam. Because, yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Sunshine Show is worldwide. Woo, woo! I have the man, the myth, the legend, the one and only, the most amazing, the most fabulous, the most phenomenal. I have the one and only Billy Sheehan in the house. What's up, Billy?
I'll try to live up to that intro. It's going to be tough, though.
How's
Thank you
it
very much.
going?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for having me on. This is our third time I think we've met online. Fourth.
It may be our fourth time, Billy Sheehan.
Oh, great.
Fourth time's a charm.
Works for me. Very good. Good to see you again. Thanks for having me on. I'm here in my studio practicing all the Winery Dog songs to make sure I get all the little nuances and little subtle things correct, and sing along and get the harmony parts right. And also we're going to start, I leave pretty soon and get to rehearsals for a couple of days. And we start in Greensburg, Pennsylvania, just outside Pittsburgh. And we go, this is just the first leg of the tour. So we do a bunch of US shows. Then I think we do Europe and South America. And then we do more US shows. And we'll be out for most of the year, I think. Which is cool.
Wow, that is amazing. I'm so excited. I'm hoping to be able to catch you during a live show. Please tell me you'll be headed to California.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I lived in LA for 32 years, so I got a lot of friends there, and I get a lot of people upset with me that I don't play. So, and I'm dying to see some of my friends and go back to LA. It's just still my part. So much of my heart it lives in that city. So we'll be doing a lot of shows in that area, I'm sure. People get impatient, when I post dates. Why aren't you playing it? Wait. It says right about more dates coming soon. And so there are many more dates. And it's going to be a busy year for us with the new record coming out February 3rd, just 3 days from now. The first two singles did incredibly well. We're so grateful. People everywhere were clicking like mad on our YouTube channel, and we got about 500,000 views in a week on each song. So we're very, very thankful and looking forward to playing it live. And how are you?
I am doing wonderful. The rains have finally passed here in Santa Cruz, California, and we are recovering and rebuilding, and life is good.
Beautiful. It gets pretty green in California when you get some rain. So that's a beautiful thing. I remember the smell. It's called the petrichor. It's the smell of the air after the rain. And the petrichor in Los Angeles is always glorious.
Very nice. You guys, we are here with the one and only Billy Sheehan here on the Sunshine Show. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions for myself or the one and only Billy Sheehan, make sure to drop them there in the comment section. This episode has been brought to you in part by Bass Players United. Woo, woo, woo. All right, let's check out this comment section. Jason Moreau wants to know if you'll be headed to Canada.
I hope so. We don't choose where we play. No band does. And sometimes it's difficult for people to understand that, but we have I hate to put it in such commercial terms, but we're selling a product and we can't choose who buys it. We hope they do. Toronto is a very important city to me growing up. We played there all the time at the El Macambo, the Gasworks, Larry's Hideaway, Piccadilly Tube, all these famous iconic clubs on Yonge Street in Toronto. At one point, I think about 1978, I went up and joined Kim Mitchell in Max Webster briefly. Never performed with them or recorded, but we did a lot of rehearsing. Didn't quite work out, but I'm still good friends with Kim. And all the Canadian bands, we would hear the Canadian stations in Buffalo. So we heard all these great bands, Gatto, Helix, a million great bands. All the bands in Canada were signed to the Canadian subsidiary of the U.S. label. So it was a great scene in Toronto. We played there many times and got some great memories. So I'd love to get to Canada. And on the west coast of Canada, Vancouver, Edmonton, and Calgary, we played on the Eat 'em and Smile tour, and that was a riot. We had a great time in those cities. So hopefully I get to all of them again.
Let's see. So, Billy, I didn't give an introduction. I did give you an introduction, but how about the very few people who do not know who you are that have been living under a rock? Could you give us a brief introduction about the people you've worked with, the bands that you've had the honor of working with?
Well, yeah, I've been playing professionally for about 55 or 56 years. It's a long ass time. And I come from Buffalo, New York. Played in a band called Talus. We did put out a new record last year, 1985 it was called, in commemoration of that great year of 1985 when the music biz was hot and Sunset Strip was packed. It was like Mardi Gras every night. And it was an amazing time in music. And Talus, I left Talus in 1985 to join David Lee Roth. He asked me to come to LA and start a band with him. And I did. It was an amazing adventure. We did the Eat 'em and Smile album and tour. I did the Skyscraper album. Didn't do the tour. I went off on my own and started a band called Mr. Big. And in Mr. Big, we had three hits. One number one. To Be With You was number one for 3 weeks. Played all over the world, everywhere, and had quite an amazing time of it. In the interim after that, I continued on with Mr. Big. We stopped playing for a while, got back together, and I've done a bunch of albums and tours with Steve Vai. And the Winery Dogs is my main concern now. Richie Constant on amazing vocals and mind-blowing fingerstyle electric guitar, and Mike Portnoy on drums, who was just a spectacular, incredible player, known very, very well. His reputation precedes him everywhere. It's amazing. And I also had a side project called Niacin, Dennis Chambers on drums. Learned a lot from Dennis. And I'm still playing as much as ever. Though I hadn't gigged during the pandemic, this Winery Dogs tour will be my first time out in almost 3 years. So, and I live to play live, and I play live to live. So not being able to perform live has been tough on me. But I've been down here in my little studio, hammering away, relearning stuff, rediscovering stuff I forgot, fine tuning, playing hard. I get up in the morning, feed the cat, come down here for hours, hit it. And so I think it's been a productive time during the pandemic. In my studio, people have written to me from around the world for me to play on their tracks, and we've done over 600 songs, about 5 or 6 full albums, and of every genre you could imagine, and some you couldn't. And been an incredible adventure to play bass on so many songs, because you hear the song without it and you're thinking, I don't know, man, what are we going to do here? Get a proper bass line. I'm not talking about me doing anything righteous in any way, but any bass player get a proper bass line in that, and suddenly, man, we got a song. This is all coming together. So the bass being the glue that holds time and pitch together, groove and melody, it became very apparent to us that is an actual real thing. And so in that time period also, we recorded the new Winery Dogs record. It's 3 as a Roman numeral 3. It's our 3rd record, and we start February 15th in Greensburg, Pennsylvania, and tour.
Very
Honor.
Very nice. Let me check out this chat really quick. We got a lot of people here to support you. We got Rick Osborne. He says, can't wait to see Winery Dogs on the road. We got Jonas in the house. He says, hello, Mr. Bill. We got Gabriel Walker. We got Stephen Madsen. We got Jason. We got Rocky Rucker all the way from Florida. Joseph from Scotland. We got Johnny Rock and Shay in the house. We got Michelle from Texas. Thank you guys all for hanging out with me and Billy. Let's see what Marco Hernandez says. He says, Billy, have you noticed a difference on your bass setup / action because of weather since you left California? Do you have to make adjustments more often?
No, it's not so bad. I have a dehumidifier here in my studio, so it's a little more humid in the summer than it was in LA. But I do notice in the wintertime, when things dry out a bit, and this didn't happen in LA, which is very dry, the wood shrinks a little bit on the neck and the edges of the fret stick out. Now, none of the Attitude basses do it, but my old original P bass, which I refer to as the wife, those are sticking out a bit. So I'm going to have to do a little work on that. But I noticed that used to happen on that bass in particular back in Buffalo. I remember playing shows where the edge of the neck was tearing my hands apart. And there was a little blood Well, Mr. Big used to say, if you get off stage and there's no blood, it wasn't a good show. So it was so these don't do it at all. The Yamaha necks are super stable, and that wood is treated really well, so they seem to be sealed nice. But so far, certainly no truss rod adjustments or anything drastic, and things seem to be pretty stable. It's very good. Thank you for asking.
Very nice. We got the Philippines in the house. Heck yeah. We got San Francisco. We got Mike Torn from Canada. What's up, Mike? Thanks for hanging out. Another Bass Players United Familia. Eduardo says, hello. I'm counting down the days for the winery dogs. Join the crowd, Eduardo. We all are. Mike says he wants you to come back to Edmonton. Now, I think you mentioned that before. Is it a possibility?
Absolutely. If Edmonton books us, we will go there. Isn't that the like the rodeo town, or is that Calgary?
Ooh,
I'm not
Mike,
sure.
Mike, inquiring minds want to know. All right, let's see. Rebecca says, we're dying to know who's going to drum for Mr. Big. If I may ask. If not, I can wait. See you in March with the winery dogs.
Well, you have to wait. We will announce it pretty soon. Mr. Big is, we want to play together again. Nothing's really booked yet. But we want to do a proper farewell, especially having lost our drummer Pat. We would like to give him a tribute on a proper farewell and pay honor to him and his incredible drumming and his contributions to Mr. Big and general musical contributions in so many ways. So we will probably do something this year. Nothing to announce yet. There will be a drummer. But a lot of times, situation like this, the drummer has other things that he's dealing with, so we can't necessarily give his name right now until he's prepared for it to be released. But I guarantee you're going to be very pleased.
Woo! Surprises.
For big rodeo cities. I saw that. Gentleman said that Edmonton and Calgary are rodeo cities. Interesting. Great spots. I had a wonderful time in Edmonton, Calgary, and Vancouver as well. That's where Bryan Adams is from. So,
Bryan Adams. Gotta
Mr.
love
Big
Bryan Adams.
Mr. Big did a tour with Bryan Adams, and he invited us up on for one of the songs. We got up and played with him and stuff. What a great guy, and what a supreme talent! And every song is a hit. All right, this next one, and the people go, he's so great. A gracious, wonderful, generous man that is supremely talented. He's a Vancouver boy.
Very nice. All right, Mo Cowbell. I love this screen name. He says, I saw Billy in 1987 with David Lee Roth. Mind-blowing watching him and Steve. So let's talk a little bit about 1987 and performing with David Lee Roth. What was that like, Billy?
Well, thank you, Mo. I'm glad you were there. It was a riot. Every night we got on that giant stage, and Steve and I were running across and flying, and we were youthful, so we could do it. I think I can still do it, but just it hurts a little bit more. No problem. But we had a blast. It was such a great time. Dave is still my hero. I still love him completely, and I'm so grateful he gave me an incredible opportunity. And it parlayed into a career that I'm very grateful for. And Steve Vai and I and Greg Bissonette are still like brothers. Our keyboard player, Brett, he was part of the gang too, but sadly we lost him recently. And what a wonderful guy and a great keyboard player, singer as well. And but me, Greg, and Steve stay in touch a lot. We usually in the holidays, when I lived in LA, we'd have a Christmas get together. We had one recently out of Steve's house and made a pizza, hung out, and told stories. And I'll tell you, someday somebody's going to sneak a microphone or a voice recorder in, and that evening of comedy will win a Grammy, I'm sure. It's hilarious. We have such a great time together. Greg Bissonette, one of the finest human beings on the planet. When I talk about people and say that they're really good, I say he's almost a Greg Bissonette class. That's how amazing he is. And Steve Vai, of course, one of the greatest players ever, really, in such a unique way. We're both Zappa fans. And so I see a little bit of where the roots of what Steve does comes from. And just supreme grandmaster and just a wonderful, wonderful man. So the David Lee Roth time was quite an adventure.
I can only imagine. Thank you guys all for hanging out with us. I see your comments. I'm trying to get to them all. If I missed a question, make sure to drop it again in the chat. Let's see. John Frick, he says, did you enjoy playing with Steve Vai, and would you guys play together again?
Immensely, and we just played recently. Steve had his camp, kind of a music thing, a master class. It was me, Nuno, Steve. I forgot some of the other people, but just a bunch of stellar guitar and bass talents. And I went out to Las Vegas and joined them for that. We had a wonderful time. And at sound check, we're trying to work out this thing is in Shy Boy because we hadn't played it for a long time. How does that go again? Originally we did it. There was one part we counted 4, and then live we changed it to 8. So we're always confused. Was it 4 or is it 8? Is it 8 or is it 4? So we got together. Somebody with their phone YouTubed us kind of working it out and put it on, and it had like about 800,000 views in an hour. It was, yeah, we played together. It was a riot. We had a blast, and I'd love to do a tour with him at some point too. But he's pretty booked up, and his last record did really great, and I'm just so glad to know him and have him be my friend. He's a wonderful man.
Absolutely. Could you play a little bit more for us, Billy?
Well, that was I forgot. And the middle solo was I did harmonic, but live I go, because sometimes people hear with their ears. And when you go, it's nowhere near as exciting. Yeah. I hadn't practiced that for a while, so I'm glad I got it kind of right.
Wow, that is absolutely amazing. So how many hours a day does Mr. Billy Sheehan practice?
A lot. I feed the cat, come on down here, and hit it. And I've got quite an elaborate and disciplined practice routine that has many parts to it. Some days I do some parts, some days I do the others, but it is really a lot of work. It hurts. It's physically demanding, but the payoff is really great. And the payoff for me is I'm on stage. I don't have to think about anything. I'm not thinking. No thinking. If you think, you stink. No thinking. You're just playing. It's really music just coming out. And it's natural and it's normal, just like our conversation right now. I'm not thinking about what I'm going to say. I'm just saying it. And similarly, with enough practice. And practice, there's a skill to practicing, to know and figure out what you need to work on in order to make things work better. And I've worked hard to develop that skill. And so it pays off. And you'll notice that when you're playing something, it's easier, it's better, it's smoother, it's more in time, it's more of everything because of what you practice. But figuring that out sometimes is part of the trick. Figuring out exactly what you need to do to improve your playing. Because what do you practice? Well, I play scales all day. Are you improving at all? No. Well, then that's probably not the thing you need to practice. So there's a lot of, sometimes I'll do an independent right hand practicing. 4-finger, 3-finger, 2-finger, 1. I'll do independently the left hand. Just left hand without the right hand, because sometimes there's an example of how it can get so crazy. The left hand will do something, and not quite get it, but the right hand will do something to fix it, which it shouldn't do. The left hand should be able to do it, and vice versa. So sometimes if I can't really pull it off with the right hand, the left hand will jump in there and do something. So I practice independently so I can see exactly what's going on. Then bring it back together. And if nothing would have happened from doing that, I would have abandoned it. But it does actually make a big difference for me. But that's just me. Each individual may have certain things they need to do. Some people don't have to practice at all. Dennis Chambers famously did a drum clinic, and it's always rumored that Dennis doesn't practice. He just goes up and plays. And somebody raised their hand for a question. Yeah, is it true that you don't practice? He goes, yeah, I don't practice. And people are thinking, come on, that can't be true. He goes, here, I'll give you a test. All right, how many of you guys here have trouble with your plan? Raise your hand. Every hand went up. And he goes, okay, how many of you practice? Every hand went up. He goes, see? So it's funny. It was comedy, but in a way, when you're as talented as Dennis, you don't really have to practice. I remember we were doing a niacin album, and it was late at night, and Dennis had just tracked about 17 songs, amazingly. We had one extra song that another drummer was supposed to do, but there was a problem with the tape, and we couldn't get it to work, and something happened back in the analog days. I said, Dennis, I know it's late. Could you just listen down to this? And the song was speed up, slow down, 7s and 5s and 11s, and it was an incredible, just a chaos of changes. He listened one time, went in the room, we hit the button, and he cut it. Bang, one deal, perfect. Listened to it one time, so that was pretty cool.
Now, is this the same guy that covered a Tool track? It was like the first time that he ever heard it, put on the headphones, and then just like shredded on the drums. I feel like I've seen.
That could be. Yeah, Dennis does. He does things like that. There's a couple guys. Dennis, man, he is fast. Drums are, admittedly, drums are a little bit different. You can kind of cut it up in math. You know, there's 4 of these or 8 of those. There's that one little thing, and then there's 4 more, and then the other 8 is similar, except, and then you can cut it up that way. On a melodic instrument, you have to do that also, and then take into consideration melody and pitch. So, though I know there's players that can listen down to one thing and just do it, I'm not one of them.
Oh, Billy, I don't believe you for a second.
Well, I'm an ear player, so I gotta hear it, and I gotta learn it by ear. So one of the new Winery Dogs song called "Mad World" has a bass solo in the very outro. And when I did it, I wasn't thinking. I was just, playing. No thinking, remember?
Yes.
And then now I've decided we're going to do it in the set, so I have to learn it. It took me about 3 days to figure out what in the world I was doing, because I was paying no attention when I recorded it. So when I finally came down to do it, I couldn't remember what fingering patterns I used. And you got to have the right patterns to play this little piece, because it goes by real quick. And so it took me days to find it. I finally got it. I'll be come out to the show and I'll show you. But it was a bear to learn. It was pretty funny.
Wow. Okay, guys, I didn't mention this, but in a little bit, we're going to have a super special co-host. It's a surprise, but you all know and love her. So stay tuned for this super special.
What? Really?
Oh, yes.
We're going to be joined by another individual?
We are going to be joined by a very special individual.
You've piqued my curiosity.
Our little hearts go pitter patter. So stay tuned for that. That's coming up very quickly. Let's take a couple more of these questions. Thank you guys all for hanging out with us. Let's see. Jody wants to know, is there an artist on your bucket list that you would love to play with?
I've been very lucky to play with most everyone. Sadly, recently we lost Jeff Beck, and I never played with Jeff, but I hung out with him for an evening. And what a wonderful guy. Back in the day, the 3 big guys, Clapton, Page, and Beck, of the 3, a lot of musicians say this, though I love Eric Clapton and I love Jimmy Page, Beck was kind of my thing. And losing him was a very, very sad thing, of course, terrible. But he came to the Rainbow Bar and Grill one night. Well, I didn't know. I was in there. Me and Steve Stevens were going to start a band after the David Lee Roth band, after I left. And we were in there just kind of hanging out and looking for people and whatever. And we're sitting at the table, and the waitress, Eileen, is a dear friend of mine. And she used to be Cozy Powell's girlfriend, and he played with Jeff Beck a lot. So she knew Jeff. So she comes over to our table and goes, Billy, I'm really sorry, but Jeff Beck is coming. We don't have a table for him. Do you mind if we sit him with you guys? And me and Steve looked sort of like, yeah, of course. So he comes in, he sits down with a couple other people, and we're hanging out and talking. And it's hilarious. Steve was hilarious. He's kicking me under the table and saying, "Talk about cars. Talk about cars," because he knew if I started talking, "Jeff, I'm a huge fan and I love this and your record," he'd be like, "We got to go. I'm sorry, it was just sometimes it gets a little overwhelming in your private time." But he was just gracious and wonderful. We talked. Eventually, in the end, I had to say, "Jeff, you were the inspiration for me. Incredible. The art when he played with the Yardbirds, it was a huge influence on me. But what a wonderful guy!" And they were there looking for a drummer. I think they were about to do a tour with Mick Jagger, and they said, "Billy, we're looking for a drummer that's like really great, but he's got like an amazing look and an amazing style too. Who do you know?" And I go, "Terry Bozzio." So they contacted Terry, and he ended up doing that tour or gig or whatever it was. And Terry is being an ultra genius on drums as he is. So that was my little Jeff Baxter. I wish I would have played with him. Paco de Lucia, also flamenco guitarist. I don't think I am quite up to his level to play with him, but I would have loved to have stood next to him at one point.
Really, you are so humble.
That's because I know all the things that I don't know. There's two types of people in this world. Our manager, Mr. Big Manager, legendary Herbie Herbert, he used to say, "There's two types of people in this world: those that don't know, and those that don't know they don't know." So I know that I don't know. So
let's see. We got Newcastle, England in the house. We got Calgary. We got Oregon. Let's see. Billy says, "I met Billy at a new Ampeg preamp release 20 years ago in Orlando. What a nice guy." Billy, everybody loves you.
From one Billy to another. Thank you very much, bro. Yeah, if I'm in a horrible mood or having a shitty time, I'll generally stay by myself. So I don't want people to see the bad side. So they get the impression that I'm a nice guy. But there's a dark cloud occasionally. But I just try to keep that private. Come on.
Robert says, "Hey Billy, saw you back in the 80s at my father's place in Roslyn, New York."
I remember it. That's wait, I think my father's place. I don't recall playing there, but if he says I did, I did. That's in the New York City area. We used to play around the New York City a lot. Back in Tallis, we played the L'Amours, the famous heavy metal club in Brooklyn, where the rumor was if they didn't like you, there's a wire that's called a snake. It's got all the microphone cables that goes all the way to the stage back to the soundboard. And of course, it snakes along the floor. And there's always a rumor that if they didn't like you, somebody would cut the snake, which would be a catastrophe. It would end the whole night. You would never be able to fix it. And we done so. We always did our best at L'Amour in Brooklyn. No, they're not going to cut the snake tonight, are they? So, but we had amazing, legendary times there. Just so great. We wouldn't go on stage till 1 a.m. because the liquor laws in New York City were such that they can serve till 2, or I think if somebody got a little paid off, maybe even later. And our crew would be loading the gear out, and the sun would be coming up. That's how late that night went. But what a great spot! I love playing in the New York City area. It was always an adventure.
All right, let's see. Lane Spencer says he saw you from the front row at the Glass House in Pomona with SOA, one of the best concerts he's ever seen.
Oh, wonderful. Lane, thank you very much. I remember that show. Sons of Apollo was a riot. Mike and I play in Sons of Apollo and Winery Dogs, and it's because we're so busy with the Winery Dogs this year, there won't be any SOA for a little while, but I can't wait to get back together. I just did a project in LA with a bunch of people, and Derek Bumblefoot and Jessica Soto were there involved in it too. It was great to see those guys, and more to come ASAP. And this guy says from Kansas, some insight on the late great Pat Torpey and you writing and recording with Richie Kotzen for his 1998 album, What Is. Thank you for bringing Pat up. Yeah, Pat and I played a couple songs with Richie. We jammed with him a lot. And we'd made a lot of plans to maybe make a side project for Mr. Big with Richie. It never came to be, but we spent a lot of time together. And I think Pat went out and did some shows with Richie as well. Pat is one of the finest human beings I've ever known. was my closest musical friend, I think, of my whole career, really. And losing him was quite devastating to so many. He was an incredible dad, a wonderful husband to his beautiful wife, and just a spectacular drummer. And he was we called him our secret weapon because he could sing all of Eric's parts, so we could do the full 3-part harmony and have Eric free to sing and scat on top of it. So it really helped make Mr. Big quite a vocal band. And that was part of the secret weapon with Pat Torpey. He had an amazing voice as well. But what a wonderful guy. And myself, Richie, and Pat did a lot of work together. And when I'm together with Richie now, we often bring him up and just sing his praises because he's just an incredible man.
Very nice. All right, we got Adam Phillips of Bass Players United in the house. What's up, Adam? Thanks for hanging out. He says, hey, Billy, huge fan. I was curious if you ever met or played with Paul Samuel Smith.
Unfortunately, no, but I would love to. I'm going to try to work it out. Maybe the Rotosound guys know him because Rotosound is my string company. And we're going to go to England with the, that's you too?
Yeah.
Great. You're in the Rotosound family?
Yes.
I had no idea. How beautiful is that? Yeah, I love those strings, and they got some magic mojo to them. Hendrix used them, Jocko used them, Geddy, Steve Harris, Chris Squire, John Entwistle, just amazing. And I think Paul Samuel Smith did because he had the black tape wound nylon strings on his Epiphone Rivoli bass on the cover of Having a Rave Up with the Yardbirds. And Yamaha years ago, as a gift for my birthday, they found that bass, not the bass, but the same exact model. And I remember I got a set of black nylon tape Rotosounds to put on there so it could sound like Paul Samuel Smith. But I got to look into it because I would love to meet him. He was one of my first and biggest influences. Paul Samuel Smith, Paul McCartney, and then Tim Bogert. But that was later. But Paul Samuel Smith, he did this. And it was just brilliant. And back in the day, that was like Yngwie on bass. It was so amazing. And he was in there hanging with Beck, Page, and Clapton, and an overlooked player because he just was fantastic. His tone, the reason why I have that pickup, the humbucker, big humbucker pickup on my P bass and all these neck position pickups on my Attitudes is because of Paul Samuel Smith, because that bass had that one big fat chrome humbucker right here. And the super deep low end was amazing. It pushed the whole band along, and he was a huge influence on me. So good question, my brother. Thank you very much. I got to pursue that a little bit more.
All right, guys. I still have lots and lots of questions here for the one and only Billy Sheehan. If you have any more, drop them there in the comment section. I think it's about time we bring up our very special co-host that has been waiting in the green room to come up to talk to Mr. Billy and see how's it going. Are you ready for this, Billy?
I'm ready.
Are you sure you're ready?
I think. I think I'm ready. Should be okay.
Well, oh my goodness.
Wow, look at you.
Hello.
Ellen, how old are you now?
I'm 10.
10 years old. And
Yes.
You're such a fine bass player. Whenever you show up on my Instagram feed or on Facebook or anything, I look at the comments and people just love your playing. And I watch you do your thing, and you got it very together. That's very cool. I'm sure your dad helped you a little bit, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Her dad.
Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Her dad is quite a great guitar player, and I did a record with him. Victor Wooten was on it, a lot of other luminaries, and it's just a great, incredible record. He's a great player. So I see it must be in your DNA that you're a great player.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
What are you working on now, Ellen?
We're working on forming the band.
Good. Excellent.
Happening. But
I always say, especially to younger players, when people ask me if I'd like to put forward any advice. 3 things. Number 1, get in a band. Super important. You can play and YouTube and everything, and that's great, but and maybe it's because I'm old and I think this, and maybe YouTubers and Instagrammers will be the future. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. But for me, every great artist that we know, basically, they were in a band. Number 2, get in a band with songs. Number 3, get in a band with songs that you sing. You sing it all, Ellen?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. All right.
I do.
So you got the triple threat. You're a great player. You're as cute as a bug, and you sing. So this future looks good. Look at all the people that did exactly that: Paul McCartney, Chris Squire, Geddy Lee, Van Halen, AC/DC. All these bands had that exact formula. They were a band. They had songs and they sang. And so I think the future looks bright for you, young lady. I'm very, very positive about that.
Thank you.
Hey,
Right
hey,
on.
Ellen, can I ask you a huge favor since you're my co-host? I gotta go let Winston Diego, my mini pig, inside. So I'm gonna jump off for like 1.5 minutes. Do you want to take over for me really quick and ask Billy a couple of questions? Maybe even one?
Sure.
Yeah. Perfect. I'll be right back, you guys.
All right. Here we are, Ellen. It's you and me.
So, are you gonna be attending the NAMM show this summer?
Unfortunately, they moved the NAMM show to April, and we'll be on tour with the Winery Dogs.
Oh.
It was always great that the NAMM show would be in January because everyone was off in January. Tours didn't start until February, March, April kind of a thing. So unfortunately, they wanted to keep it. I don't think they wanted to do it in the winter time due to the fact that colds and flu spread and all the pandemic stuff. So maybe that's why they moved it a little later in the year. I'm sad that they did because I have not, up to the pandemic, I hadn't missed a NAMM show for decades and decades. I've been to NAMM shows since 1982. I think I've only missed 1 or 2 since then. So, but have you been to a NAMM show?
Yeah, basically every NAMM show, even the last one. The last one they did it in June.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because not too many people were there, and a lot of manufacturers didn't show up and show their new gear. So I'm waiting for a real NAMM show to come in January in Anaheim, and you'd be great if you played at the NAMM show because everybody would love to see you play. You know, that's a lot of players. They demonstrate instruments at the NAMM show. Do you endorse any particular bass or amp?
For the NAMM show, or
No,
just
in general?
Yeah, in general. Okay, for my bass, I endorse Mayonnaise guitars and basses.
Nice.
Yeah, guitars and basses.
It's serving you well. The bass works very well for you.
Yes.
Right. What do you like about it?
It's very comfortable. It's actually a lot different than my other basses because it's just like it can be a full scale or a short scale. It's just, I don't know how to explain it. It's just like
it is an abstract thing. It's hard to tell sometimes what makes you love an instrument.
Yeah.
It's intangible. So you're not really sure, but it just got this thing to it, you know?
Yeah. I'm endorsed for the amp I use. I'm endorsed by Mark Bass, the Mark Bass amp.
Okay. Very good. Well, actually, you endorse them. They don't endorse you.
Oh, yeah. I endorse them.
I often say that because musicians have a position of influence. And so when a company comes to you, they ask you to endorse their product so you will influence others to use the product. Where for a while, back in the 80s, people would say, yeah, I'm endorsed by this company and that, and as a way to show that a company is saying that they're a good musician. That's not what they're doing. The musician is saying the company is a good company. So I'm glad that you understand that.
Awesome, guys. All right. I want to get back to a few of these questions, Billy, because there's a ton of
All right.
questions that we haven't gotten to. And you guys, if you have any questions for the beautiful Miss Ellen, drop them there in the chat. Ellen, you have so many people here that love you, that are just huge fan of yours, and they want me to tell you hello, or from them to you. Okay? Okay.
Hello.
All right, guys, let's see here. We got Brian McDermott. He says, just wanted to say hi and thanks so much for your
Very well.
DiMarzio Relentless pickups. Can't wait to buy the new jazz pickups as well. Not only is the sound second to none, but the ability to use them as a ramp has helped my right hand technique tremendously. Thanks for all the great playing and great gear innovation. Cheers, Billy.
Very glad to hear that. What this gentleman is talking about is the new DiMarzio pickups. And my original pickups, I would take a DiMarzio pickup and cast it into epoxy. Then I would file this part down on this one, because this part of the pickup, when it's close to the string, hits this string, and this part of this pickup hits that string, because the pickups are flat, but the neck has a radius. So why don't the pickups match the radius of the neck? Because when a stand-up player plays, he plays over the neck, and he has something underneath his fingers at all time. They're never just floating over the strings. Stand-up player, watch, they play right, one thumb is on the edge of the neck and they play on it. So for years, way back in the 70s, I started to make this ramp, they call it, underneath my strings that enable you to pluck really easily, because my finger is basically hitting the ramp and the string is in the way. So you get this consistency of it's very easy to play at a rapid pace with that underneath. So Larry DiMarzio, I went to Larry and said, Larry, could you actually make the pickup so I don't have to deal with epoxy and filing and sanding and drilling and all the things that I do? So he did. He made the Relentless pickups, and they are covered in, I don't have a base with the Relentless pickup on it close by me. They're still relatively new. But it's covered in sheet nickel, like a nickel foil. And nickel is magnetically transparent, so it doesn't stop the power of the pickup. But it's conductive, so it shields the pickup. So it's absolutely shielded. And the little thing that sticks up here, the screw, is gone. It's down underneath now. So you got a spot for your thumb. Great spot for your thumb at either place. And as I said, and they're rounded off to match the radius of the neck. And we've had an incredible. Ellen, do any of your basses have a P bass style pickup in it? Like this kind?
Oh, the camera's kind of delayed, so I don't know what kind you're talking about. I think, yeah.
Or is it a jazz pickup? This is the P bass. It has two parts.
Yeah. You
have it like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have. Okay.
I should get you a set of Relentless pickups.
Yeah, so most of my pickups are not just one. It's like two, but they're not connected. They're not.
Well, have your dad take a photo and send it to me. And if it looks like the P pickups will work, is it 4-string, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll get you a set. And then I'd like to hear what you think of it. But I'd like to thank this gentleman for asking the question. We do the Relentless. Of course, the P bass is the most common pickup. It's pretty universal, just like the humbucker style here.
Thank you.
Jazz bass is a little bit less popular, just slightly. But now we have the Relentless Jazz too, and they're arched. The screw things are out of the way, and they sound glorious as well. And they're dead quiet, and they come in actual real chrome silver too. It's really, really nice. And there will be one more pickup that's in the works. The third most popular pickup. There you go. Yeah, that's a P style pickup right there. I'll get you a set. What color would you like? Would you like silver or gold or black?
The
gold will look nice on the white. Do you have a black hardware on that bass?
The amp?
Oh, okay.
I mean, not the amp.
or maybe the black Relentless would be good.
Yeah, the black.
Yeah, black. Let's do it. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Thank you.
I'll get in touch with Larry and I'll tell him your story. I'm sure he probably already knows about you because you're pretty famous. And
Thank you.
and I'll get you a set of Relentless. Your dad can help you put them in, and I want to hear a full report if you don't mind.
Okay.
All right. You have your homework now, Miss Ellen. All right. Next question here from Den Nelson. He says, this is for both of you guys. Who are your influences these days? Let's start with Ellen. Ellen, who are your big influences?
I'd like to hear this song.
Influenced? Like, who am I inspired by?
Yeah.
Well, probably, okay. The band. My dad has the bass players, Billy, Victor Wooten, Bootsy. Yeah, that's what I mainly listen to for the bassists. Those are, and of course, my dad.
Yeah, he's pretty great.
Yeah. So those are the main people that I'm inspired and influenced by. There's a lot more, trust me, but those are the top like 3 that come in my head.
What would be an influence to you that some people might find unusual? Something that's not straight up rock or straight up jazz. Any other kind of music you listen to that touches you, that you enjoy?
Well, the main type of music I listen to is some sort of, no, I usually listen to funk, classic rock, but I don't think that you find that unusual.
No, I'm just asking if there was anything that we might be surprised that you were influenced by. Like for myself, I love the Everly Brothers. I love Frank Sinatra. Things that people might not think that I would like, but I love them. Anything like that with you that you listen to that is not something you play, but something you like to listen to? Maybe not.
I think I've already said all the stuff I listen to.
I got a good question for you, Ellen. Is there any kind of music that your dad plays that is just annoying?
Careful.
Well, not really annoying, more that it just gets stuck into my head. Sometimes that's annoying. Probably like any like catchy groove. It just it gets into my head and it's like on full volume. I can hear it from my room. The studio's right. The studio's like at the entrance of the house, and my room is like at the end of the house, and I can still hear it max volume, and it's just stuck in my head. The type of music, it's like maybe like music he makes on Pro Tools, like Jaco Pastorius, the chicken. It's like the more you hear it, that's the type of groove. It's not annoying, but it gets stuck in your head like immediately.
Yeah. And then sometimes
they call it an earworm. Oh, sorry, Sunshine. Say what?
And with those kind of songs, sometimes you can't go to sleep at night because they're just playing over and over.
Keeps going and going and going.
And the worst part is that my dad works at night.
So there's very little sleep in your house.
Yeah.
Humpbacks in the background. No, Ellen. Okay, Billy, what about you? Who are your influences these days?
Well, I have a huge iTunes collection, so once in a while I come down here and have an adult beverage and enjoy listening to a lot of unusual things. Sometimes pretty straight up. My collection has the criteria that I made for my collection is the greatest music ever. Also, some of the worst music you could ever imagine. That's so bad that it's good. So bad it's hilarious. And so I've got a couple of things that I listen to that are just terrible and dreadful, but it's so funny to hear people slug their way through an awful song that can't sing, and it's kind of a comedy. When I have my friends come down here, sometimes we have a couple of drinks and hang out, and listen, and then the comedy starts, and I start playing things they can't possibly imagine. One guy is actually quite talented, and initially you think it's not the case, but he was actually his name is Wesley Willis, and I urge you to look him up on YouTube. And the song you want to hear is "I Whooped Batman's Ass." So look up Wesley Willis, "I Whooped Batman's Ass." And this gentleman was what they refer to as an idiot savant. He was a homeless guy with a lot of mental problems and anguish. But he could look out a window in Chicago, his hometown, take a piece of paper and 2 pencils. He used one as a template to draw straight lines, and draw the entire scenery so accurately he got all the license plate numbers of the cars as they were driving by. Genius. So buried within, there was a real genius in this man. And you hear him sing, and it's comical. But if you give it a chance, it's actually quite awesome. And I whooped Batman's ass. And he basically has a little MIDI keyboard, like from Guitar Center, that has like an automatic auto song in it. And he sings along to it. But it's when it becomes charming after a while, just to see this man. I guess he's passed away a few years ago. But just and I think there's a YouTube documentary about him as well. Quite an amazing story. So influences can come from some strange places sometimes.
Billy, I am a huge Wesley Willis fan, and I would have never imagined in 5,000 years that he would be an influence to you. And I'm loving every moment of this right now.
Oh, great. How great. And his other song, Stabbing Westward. Brilliant. I thought that was fantastic.
He's got a lot of interesting tunes. Another fun fact about Wesley is he headbutted all of his fans. So he had like a permanent indentation here on his forehead from all the headbutting that he would do during the show. I do not recommend that, Ellen. No headbutting.
I haven't done much headbutting in my life, though. Ellen, I don't want to see you doing any headbutting, okay?
All right, Ellen, let's see. This is he says, "Hi, Ellen. My daughter is a drummer. She's also 10 years old. She loves jamming along with your YouTube videos. Wow. Keep on rocking."
Could be a drummer for you. You got a drummer in your band yet?
No, we're actually looking for one.
Okay. Maybe maybe she can find you online and send you a message. Who knows what could happen?
Yes.
Maybe.
All right, guys, we're manifesting stuff here on the Sunshine Show. We've been going strong for almost an hour. We're going to start wrapping this up in about 10 minutes. So if you guys have any last minute questions, and I know there's hundreds of questions I have not gotten to, you guys, and we're going to have to do this again very soon. I'm going to pick a couple out of here, though. Let's see. Gabriel Walker wants to know, is there anything anyone's ever given to you that was hard for you, Billy?
Here's the story. Mari Hamada is an artist in Japan. I took a photo of I'm going to share it later, a screenshot of our little meeting here. Quite a great singer. It's kind of a prog thing that she does. And amazing musicians behind her. But she's up there in a gown, singing these kind of operatic, brilliant stuff. Bear with me. It's a little bit of a long story, but it might be worth it. I hope it is. So some of the stuff is a little complicated. So she sent songs to me and also to Greg Bissonette, the Eat 'em and Smile drummer. And we learned the songs. We showed up at Henson, the studio in LA. It was the Muppets studio for a long time. It's now a big music studio. And I got there, and Greg had a funny look on his face. He goes, "Billy, did you learn the song?" I go, "Yeah, it was tough, but I learned it." He goes, "Really?" He said, "I had to hire a transcriptionist to write it out because it was so complicated. He couldn't figure it out." And Greg knows he can do anything. So we did the track, and it was really tough. And I thought, man, next time she sends me something, I'm going to say, before I say yes, I got to hear the song before, because I spent hours on this thing. So in the interim, she invited me to come to Japan and do her 30th anniversary at Budokan, sold out show. And I got up, and she paid me handsomely and had me come up and play songs with her. And it was an incredible experience. So about a year or two go by, and she sends me other tracks. And I can't say no now that she was so kind to have me bring me to Japan. So I heard the first song, a little tough, but I got it. The second song, impossible. The toughest thing I ever recorded in my life. It was all tuned low B, and it was super fast. And all the bass was done on a MIDI keyboard. So, unbelievably fast and impossible. I spent days and days, and it took us about 2 days to record it with my engineer Scott. We finally got it done. I sent it to her. I'm thinking, come on, I hope he likes it. And I didn't hear from her. I thought, oh no. So, hey, Mari, everything. Oh yeah, we love it. I got to that one. So I'm going to ask her. That record isn't out yet, but I'm going to ask her. Do you mind if I'm going to do 2 channels, right and left. On the right will be me, and on the left will be MIDI, and we'll call it Man versus Machine, and see how close people think I got to that thing. That was the toughest thing I ever played. It was. I play it for people now; they blow their minds. It's insane. It was a tough mountain to climb. Finally, I got up to the top and managed to stick that flag in, and we're okay. But man, that was. I can't wait till that record comes out and hear the reaction to it.
Ellen, are there any bass lines that were very difficult for you to learn?
Oh yeah, yes. I just remembered one of them. Okay. So the first one is I just recently learned the bass line yes, roundabout.
Yeah.
That was like one of the hardest bass lines.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, I got it eventually. So what we did was we first pull up a metronome. We started from 60 beats per minute to 70 to 80 to 90 to eventually like 140. And when you start off slow, your fingers get used to it and it automatically works.
Oh, great.
Yeah, for the fast one.
That's
for the fast part.
Great. That's great.
Yeah, and another tough one I'm still learning is YYZ, Rush. I've learned like the first part, the easy part, the da 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 da. That part's like the most easiest part in the song, but the rest is just impossible.
Oh, great. Boy, that is something. I'm so glad that you are learning songs of this nature. Chris Squire is just a great player. What an amazing tone. My favorite, if I had to think of a single bass note that was my favorite note, on Roundabout, after that, when it's that one low E when they come out of the solo. Yeah. And it comes in, hits that one note. I just love that tone. That's a roto sound. That's a roto sound as well. Pretty great.
One really funny, well, for me it's kind of funny about that song is how the beginning it just sounds like it's gonna turn into some sort of like Swedish, like some sort of dance, and it just turns into like rock once all the instruments coming.
Yeah, Yes was an amazing band. I had the great honor and pleasure of meeting Chris at the Rainbow Bar and Grill in LA. He was a regular there. We'd always see each other. And I was there one night, and John Atlas was there sitting with me. Chris came and joined us, and then Lemmy came and joined us. So we had all 4 of us at the table. Somebody took a photo. They put it up on the wall, and somebody stole it. So I swear to God it happened.
We're going to find it on eBay one of these days, Billy.
I hope so. I'll bid on it.
All right, let's see. We got Terry all the way from New Zealand, bass player for Catch a Fire. What's up, Terry? He says, here's a story. I could listen to Billy tell stories all day. Billy, you have the best stories. Are you going to write a book?
Yeah, people have hit me up to do that. It comes from my dad. My dad was a recitationist. He would recite stories and poems, and he was Irish. His dad came from Ireland when he was 6 years old, and his parents died on the trip, and he ended up in New York City, Ellis Island alone. And that's how our family started. So my dad, his son, had a lot of Irish tradition in him. And that was the thing. He'd go, back then bars weren't places where you go to drink. The whole family would go to eat, and it was a restaurant as well in the early days. And he would go and recite poems and stories. And when we were kids, I remember my dad telling these stories, and we'd know the story, we know the punchline, we'd heard it 50 times, but every time we'd laugh all over again because he was such a good storyteller. So I stole a lot of that from my dad, a little bit of an entertainment thing, and that has helped me through the years. But yeah, there's a lot of stories usually, and there's levels of stories. There's stories you can tell anybody, anywhere, anytime. Stories you might want to keep a little quiet because they involve the failings of someone or other. And then some others that, unless you're sitting around with a bunch of your closest friends, you probably wouldn't let the public know. I always had a great idea. I thought it was a great idea. I was in LA at either the comedy club or the improv, have a night where all the musicians come. You take your phone and put it in an envelope, no phones, all the music business people get up there. We all sit down, and one at a time, everybody gets up and tells the real story of what actually happened. And it would blow your mind.
Billy, we want the book of the best stories. You know what I'm saying? The nighttime Billy after dark stories. Okay.
This sounds terrible, and I'm only kidding, but I got to wait for a few more people to die before I do that.
Poor Ellen's face.
I'm kidding. Or get a better lawyer. One of the two.
Let's get to a couple more of these questions before we get out of here. Gabriel Walker, he has asked this question about 10 times, so I'm going to ask you, Billy. Let's see what you think. What's your opinion on Les Claypool as a bass player, and have you ever met him?
Yes, he came out. We were opening for Rush. I know he's friends with Getty, and he came out to a show with Mr. Big opening for Rush. I met him. Wonderful guy. What a great player. Unique. I love to see players make a left turn and do something that nobody else does, or do it in a different way. And Les is certainly like that. What a great player, what a great slap player. But his presentation and the way he carries himself on stage is half of the appeal, I believe, of Les. And that the fact that he didn't follow the template, he didn't want to be a rock star. He just get up and did his thing. And as a result, he's an even bigger star and a huge influence on so many players. I have nothing but great opinions of him, what he does, and is an incredible talent.
I know he's going on tour soon with Les Claypool's Fancy Flying Frog Brigade.
There you go.
And he has so many amazing projects besides Primus.
Yeah, he's also to be that prolific in so many different areas. It speaks a lot about him as a person, that he can hold it together and keep it together. Music business is tough. I don't want to scare you away, Ellen, but it's a tough business. But when you have talent like this young lady, like Ellen does, it does open a lot more doors. Doesn't guarantee anything, but the doors can open a bit. And Les Claypool is certainly a tribute to that concept. What a great talent, and his talent got him where he is. And I think more than many, it was just him, his attitude, his presentation, and his talent that made it happen. It wasn't hit singles or love songs. It was that's how it happened. So he, at any given time, he shows up. There's going to be 3 to 5 to 10 to 20,000 people wanting to see him play, and I'm very, very proud of him pulling that off. Pretty amazing.
Awesome. All right. Next question from Scott Rule. Do you play through any foot pedals to shape your sound?
Well, I have an EBS signature pedal that if I have to go and do a session or just do a show where I don't have the opportunity to bring all my stuff, I take that one little pedal and I can do a show or do a session with it, no problem. There's a couple of famous bass players that called me and told me they don't leave home without my little EBS pedal. I'm very happy to see. I don't know, Ellen, would you did you use any pedals at all?
Yeah, we have some. I actually have a pedal board.
Yeah.
We have a Geddy Lee signature pedal.
That's cool.
I can't see that. Wait, give me 1 second. We have a bass compressor pedal. We have the Bass Course Deluxe pedal.
Right.
We have a Swarovski bass preamp. There's a lot, so I'm not going to name all of them.
Do you have one of mine? Do you have one of my pedals, the EBS pedal, my signature pedal?
I don't know.
It's a light blue color.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Well, I'll have your dad get in touch with me. When I get you the Relentless pickups, I'd like to get you the EBS pickup pedal as well, and give it a try. it's a way to get distortion on the bass, but you don't lose the original bass. Normally, you put a distortion on the bass, you lose the low end. So this allows you to split the signal, have the clean signal be normal, and then ghost in or add as much distortion as you want. So sometimes you want a tiny bit just for a little edge. Sometimes you want a lot. Sometimes you want not at all. So this will be my little quest here. I'll try to get it done before I go on tour to get you the Relentless pickups and my EBS signature pedal. I think you'll enjoy it, but again, I'm gonna have to ask you for a full report. Let me know what you think.
Another piece of homework.
The best kind of homework, though. All right. 2 more questions. Well, actually, here's a comment for Miss Ellen Jordan Branch, amazing singer-songwriter out of Redding, California. Says, Ellen has inspired my kids. Before we found her, my kiddos thought YouTube was just a place to watch game streamers. All inspiring. Thank you, sweet little sister.
Beautiful.
All right. Good. Then Art wants to know, Billy, do you still have the Hulk dolls? Oh, it's show and tell time, ladies and gentlemen.
There he is. There's another one too. So a gentleman, this could be him. I apologize, I forgot his name through the years, but he referred to my tone as the Hulk tone because of my bass tone. So he got me a Hulk, and I still keep it in memory of his kindness. The Hulk tone. Amazing. Bro, drop me a line on social media, and I'll be nice to get in touch with you again.
Very nice. All right, Jeremy Hill, bassist out of Ohio, says, Ellen. Demi says, hi. She's practicing her U-bass. Ellen, do you like your U-bass?
U-bass?
Do you have the little mini bass? The mini bass? Yeah, like the little mini.
The mayonnaise mini bass.
There you go.
Yeah, it's right over there. But yeah, it's like a. Oh.
You know what's funny about it? It sounds like a stand-up bass. The tiniest little thing, but it's got a tone.
Oh, we have a. That's like a acoustic bass, but we don't.
It's a U because it's made by a ukulele company.
Oh, we have. Ours is this one.
I happen to have one in there.
Oh, that's cool. Is that
there? It is. Oh, yours is way cooler. Come on. Oh man, that's
nice.
Is that a solid body?
Is it? Yeah, it is.
Wow. Oh, I love that thing. How great.
Is that a signature bass, Ellen?
No. Is it? No.
But it's a U bass, right? It's a U bass?
No, it's not a U bass.
Oh, okay.
Hey,
yeah, I didn't need a bass section.
Why don't you have your dad give you the bass that you just got, the new bass that you just got an endorsement by, that really pretty red one? Show Billy. Oh, there we go.
Oh, that looks cool.
Isn't that awesome?
Beautiful. That's a nice bass.
How do you feel about it, Ellen?
It's really comfortable. It's like, okay, now that it's on me, I might be able to explain. It's like...
It fits you.
Yeah, it fits me.
There you go.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, it's got jazz pickups and they're doubled up. So I could...
Yeah,
I could...
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. It's like 2.
Yeah. I get it now. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a beautiful instrument. How cool.
Does that have your name there on the fretboard? Does that say Ellen or?
At the 12th fret, what does it say?
At the 12th fret, yeah, it says Ellen. It's upside down though. That was our mistake. Oh my God! Why does this table keep
All right, very, very cool, you guys. We're gonna start getting out of here. A couple quick questions. Love the 9 short films album with Terry Bozzio. How do you feel about the way that one turned out?
That was an unusual thing. We got together, just Terry and I, and just came up with stuff on the fly. Unknown to me, he overdubbed spoken word over the whole record. I had no idea that was going to happen. So each song is kind of like a story with his voice narrating this thing, and then Terry Bozzio and myself in the background doing our thing. It's pretty amazing. I was really love the way it came out. It was completely unexpected. I had no idea he was going to do the spoken word thing. So we went there and worked it out. He played on my very first solo record, Compression. He came and set up and did that. It was Terry Bozzio and Steve Vai joined me as well on another track. But yeah, it was quite an adventure down in Austin, Texas. We recorded that.
Very nice. All right. Dimitri wants to know, what's your favorite scale?
Major. Almost everything we know is built off a major scale, and it's relative minor, which is the same notes in a different position. I often my best master class I would go like Joy to the world, major scale. So do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. In my master class, a lot of times I use that as my foundation. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. In every position, up and down the neck. G major scale from bottom to top. All G major. All the chord shapes are in there. Every note of every solo in G major is in there. You do variations of it, of course, but it's amazing how deep a major scale goes. There's a couple others that I know, harmonic minor and melodic minor, but I really base a lot of my playing on that major scale. What do you think about that, Alan?
My favorite, well, I don't really have a specific favorite, but the one I like the most, like the way it sounds or how it's used in most cases, is either the major scale or the arpeggio. It's like, it's the arpeggio scale. It's like kind of calming. I don't know why. It's like the major arpeggio scale.
Yeah, the major sounds happy.
Yeah.
We make it minor.
And that's just mysterious. And I like the minor more than the major one.
Yeah, it's got a little more depth to it. The major's a little too happy sometimes. Too happy. Sorry.
Too happy.
Right, guys. Alan, it has been such a treat having you back on the show. Is there any last questions you want to ask Billy before we get out of here? And if not,
I saw,
no, go ahead, babe.
Yeah. So I saw one. Which bass do you mostly use? Because do you use your Because I saw one of your basses, the one you use mainly. Like what's your main bass? The one you like practice all the time with?
For recording, I use this attitude because it has a special neck. If you look closely, it's got squiggly frets. The frets aren't straight. See that?
Yeah.
And there's a company out of Sweden called True Temperament, and they adjust the frets so that every note is exactly in tune. Because a regular bass with the straight frets are microscopically out of tune. So for recording, I use this bass mostly because often there's keyboards in the recording. The keyboards are, of course, adjusted to be exactly in tune all the time. For fretted instruments, they drift a little bit. So I use this for most of my recording. Then otherwise, just one of my standard blue Yamaha attitude basses. It's got double output. I just posted a thing of my amp. I'm getting my amp together out in the garage, getting ready for the tour. It's all rewired. It's all brand new. It's all got it. It's all in the proper cases. So I'll take on this tour. I'm going to take the wine bass, which is a plexiglass base that's clear red, and it looks like it's made of red wine that's frozen.
Yeah.
And the knobs are corks, and the fret markers, they added a little neck, so each one looks like a little wine bottle. And so that's the wine bass. I'll be doing that on the Winery Dogs tour for a song or two. And then I'll have one of the blue ones, or maybe a second blue Attitude bass as a backup for a tour.
Yeah, because when I was in LA, we were at the Guitar Center. I saw one of your basses, the blue.
I saw you played it.
Yeah.
And we had we as a result that day we sold 1,000 of them. Did you know that?
No.
Okay.
The squiggly line things are cool. I haven't seen that type of
Yeah, that's
thing before.
a true temperament, and they do. Some of the frets are quite dramatic, like down at the end. You see how they're curved, and that's so that each note is exactly in tune according to the actual pitch. So, and it surprised me that the bass is actually that out of tune to start with. This is a low frequency, you can't tell it, but they also do for guitars. They make guitars like that as well. And it's an interesting thing. Look them up online. There's a wonderful company out of Sweden. We're all playing in tune now.
Very nice. Man, we've had such a good time tonight. People from all over the world have joined us to talk with Ellen, with Billy. You guys, we got to start wrapping this up. I know you guys have questions after questions after questions. Let's see, Niacin, everybody wants to know, is there anything happening?
Not at the moment, but could be at some point as soon as a little time opens up. I'd love to.
All right. Very good. Jordan, I was going to ask that. What are they called again? Okay, yeah, we got that. All right, guys, we're going to get out of here. Billy, anything else you'd like to talk about before we get going?
New Winery Dogs comes out February 3rd. We're very excited about it. I posted the tour dates. I'm going to post them again. Many, many more dates coming. I'm looking forward to seeing my friends out on the road and performing live again. Thank goodness. Now that the pandemic is hopefully behind us. And thank you for having me on. And thank you for bringing Ellen on. It was a very special surprise, and wonderful to see you, Ellen. If anybody out there has any further questions we haven't gotten to, you can find me on Facebook, on Instagram. I got 2 pages on Facebook, an Instagram page. There's Twitter as well. And through my website, you can contact me. I'm pretty much an open book. And Billy and Ellen collaboration, yeah, that would be nice. Let's get your dad to set that up.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. We could do something together. It'd be wonderful. But anyway, if anyone has a further question or needs to get in touch with me about anything, I read everything that gets sent to me. It's a gargantuan task, but I am very pleased when people get in touch with me, and I'm lucky to have friends all over the world to write to me. So I do my best to get back. And Ellen, I hope I see you play in your band very soon. If you need anything from me, let me know. Have your dad get in touch, and I will get you those pickups and that pedal. And I hope you like them. And I'm so pleased that you're doing so well on bass. It's a really wonderful thing. And Sunshine, thank you so much for having me. It's always a joy to hang out with you, and more to come, I'm sure.
Oh, I cannot wait for the 5th episode featuring Billy and Little Miss Ellen. And I cannot wait to finally meet you in person, hopefully on tour this year. I had a friend hit me up the other day talking about she wanted to fly me down to Texas so we could go see you. I think you're going through San Antonio or Austin possibly. So. Oh,
yeah. Let me know if you're going to come. That way I can take good care of you, make sure and see you after the show and all that. Be wonderful.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to go out with this last question from Rob. What hand exercise will increase your speed?
Well, the standard exercise, and I found out from a stand-up player. There's a little box. Trying to get this thing again. 4 notes, 4 strings. Up one. Do it all the way up and down the neck at a slower speed. I'm just doing it quicker to demonstrate it. In time, in tune with the metronome, and get your hands strong. And it gets your hands to build into a machine that you can play within that little box, your hands can reach just about everything. And that will lead to your fluidity and smoothness, which will result in you playing fast and being able to play faster. But playing fast should never be the goal. Playing fast is just a tool. It's a color. A little fast thing goes by and it's a little exciting. You use it as a musical piece. But I would recommend concentrate on what you're doing, write notes, things like that. Playing fast comes eventually as a little after effect. But having that be the goal, I don't know, is always a good idea. So good luck. And thank you, Joe Bjornrud, for getting the jazz relentless pickups. I'm glad you're enjoying them. That's fantastic. All right.
All right, guys. We are good. Wait, can you guys still hear me or no? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I can't hear myself. All right, guys. We are going to get out of here on 3. We're going to say bye. Are you ready?
We're ready.
All right.
Yes.
All right, Ellen. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.